Good morning, viewers. Welcome to the next video in our series of videos on SEBI Prohibition of Insider Trading Regulations 2015. In this video, we'll be calling it PIT. And in the last video, we have discussed the key concepts such as the meaning of connected persons and meaning of insiders. If you have not checked out those videos, please do the same. Now, today we are starting with the third key concept, which is also covered by Regulation 2, which is a definition section of PIT. And today we'll be discussing UPSI, which is unpublished price sensitive information. Before we begin, let me introduce you to Shubh Arora. He's a third year law student from National Law University, Delhi. He's one of my research assistants. And today he's there as a student in this classroom, and he'll be asking any question, or he'll be helping us understand the concepts and make the video more user-friendly, that is more friendly for you. So welcome, Shubh, and thank you for your time. And now let's get started with UPSI. You cannot understand the concept of UPSI without understanding what is the meaning of generally available information. The meaning of generally available information is given under Regulation 2, subclause E, as the slide shows. Now, as per Regulation 2, subclause E, generally available information is the information that is available to public on a non-discriminatory basis, which means which is generally available to everyone, like newspaper release, right? Like any release given by the company, any information which is made publicly available to the general public, to the common masses, that is called generally available information. Now let's note one feature of this definition given under Regulation 2, which is it does not say who makes this information publicly available. Does it, Shubh? Do you see on the definition screen clarifying that who should make this information publicly available?
No, ma'am, there is
no. Exactly, which means there is no restraint that the company itself should make this information public. Which means that if you, Shubh, are an employee of the company and you make a public statement, maybe without the authorization of the company, it may qualify as generally available information. Yeah, so that is why generally available information, it doesn't matter what source it comes from. By the way, there is a debate on this point. So this is one area which is ambiguous, and students can feel free, or anybody can feel free to research further that whether the source matters and to what extent. Yeah, if a person illegally makes an information publicly available, is that covered under the definition of generally available information? Now, those are the kind of questions we discuss in our classes, in the level up courses, or in the refresher courses. These are the analytical questions we sometimes do touch upon in debate. Yes. Now let's move on to the UPSI concept, which is unpublished price sensitive information. Now that we know what is generally available information, let's understand what is then unpublished price sensitive information. So it is given under Regulation 2, subclause N of PIT. It says any information which is not generally available. Yeah, that's why it was important to understand generally available information before understanding UPSI. Okay, now let's understand other components of this entire definition appearing on the screen. First thing is, this information should relate to company or securities. This information need not be just related to company, it can also relate to its security. Likewise, this information need not relate to just securities, it can also relate to the company as a whole. What are securities, Shubh?
And these are financial products. It could be shares, bonds, other derivative securities.
Good. And maybe a more technical answer can be the definition of securities is given under Regulation 2. Yeah. So whenever you have to look for the meaning of a term, of course, the intuitive approach, the most obvious approach is to go by our general understanding. But as a law student, you should go for the definition section. Yes. Good. So, so any information related to the company or securities, it can relate to the company or securities directly as well as indirectly. Okay. And this information is of such nature. It's not just any information. It is such information which is likely to affect the price of the security. But tell me one thing, Shubh, is any kind of effect on price covered? If you look at this definition clause, Do you think any kind of change, any kind of impact on the price of the securities is covered by the definition of UPSI?
No, ma'am, it clearly highlights that it should be a material change, a material effect.
Excellent, brilliant. Yes, material means some significant impact on the price. So some minuscule change is not covered because resources are limited. We want to only tap into those which are materially affecting the price. So that is another thing to be kept in mind. Okay, and the example is also given in the Regulation 2 clause. For instance, information related to financial results, capital structure, mergers, yes, change in key managerial personnel. These are the examples, but do keep in mind, Shubh, and all of you audience, that this is just an illustrative list of what is UPSI and not an exhaustive list. So with this, we finish the concept of generally available information and the concept of UPSI. And with this, in our video series, we are done with the overview of PIT and the key concept, the most important concepts, namely connected person, definition of insider, and definition of UPSI and generally available information. In the next series of videos, we'll be continuing with further regulation, that is Regulation 3 onwards. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you, Shubh.